Here.
Mr. Delacorte?
Here.
Mr. Cassell?
Here. So the first order of business tonight is the acceptance of the minutes from March 26, 2019. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Any changes?
No.
Can I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. First item on the agenda tonight is appeal number 197671. It's for Ted Morgis and Melissa Osavino. I hope I said that correctly. Seeking an area variance of 240-37, district regulations in R20 zoning, where 40 feet is required to the side property. The applicant will only provide 21 feet for the installation of an above-ground pool, thus requesting a variance of 19 feet. The property is located at 27 Dennis Road and is identified by tax grid number 6258011126, 632 in the town of Wappinger. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second, please? Okay. B, is all the paperwork in order?
They are.
Okay. Ted, why don't you come up and explain a little bit to the audience what you'd like?
Again, thank you for hearing the variance to the board. And where the pool's going, I need 40 feet by zoning laws to the rear property line. I could provide 21 feet. The topography of my backyard is such where it's not going to, the pool itself is not going to affect anything as far as drainage goes. And behind my house is all woods. I'm bordered by a person who owns about 5 acres that surrounds me, and then an adjoining property that the person owns about 30 acres that's behind me. So I'm not encroaching on anybody, and it's the only real spot in my backyard that I could put it. The board came out and saw what I plan to do, and I hope everything is okay.
Okay.
So.
Any questions from any of the board members at all? I know we all had an opportunity to meet Ted at his house. We took a look at the property in the back. He showed us the uniqueness of the layout of the land now with all the changes between you and the neighbor. So it looks like it's probably the best spot to put the pool. I don't know if you guys have any questions at all?
I don't have any questions.
No,
Anybody from the audience like to speak for or against the variance?
pretty straightforward.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I will make a motion to close the public
Can I
hearing.
have a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I now have a motion? You may sit down if you like.
Thanks.
Actually, why don't you stand now, kid? Can I have a motion to either grant or deny the variance?
I'll make a motion to grant the applicant the variance. Being that you had some tough topography out there, your lot lines are a little tough too. I don't believe the benefit can be achieved by any other feasible means. It will create no undesirable change to the neighborhood or surrounding properties. The request is substantial, however, in nature, will not create any adverse effects to the environment.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
And we could do roll call, please? Oh, by the way, just one thing I do want to tell you before we vote. You need all three of us to say yes to grant the variance. Would you like us to go forward with the variance?
Yes.
Okay. All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Galati?
Yes.
Mr. Delacorte?
Yes.
Mr.
Gallo?
Casella?
Yes. So it's approved. Paperwork will be filed in 5 days. You have a question? What's the matter?
Oh, Peter. There you go.
Thanks. So it's been approved. It'll take 5 days to go out, but your variance has been approved, and good luck with the pool.
Thanks. Good night.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, the next item on the agenda for tonight is a discussion. It's appeal number 197699. It's Louis and Deborah Camacho. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Seeking the area variance of section 240-37 of the district regulations in R20 zoning, where 20 feet is required to the side property line. The applicant will only provide 17.4 feet for the construction of a 28 by 32 garage, thus requesting a variance of 2.8 feet. Where no more than 2 accessory buildings should be permitted in a one-family residential district. No such accessory building shall have a footprint greater than 600 square feet nor a height in excess of 20. The applicant is proposing a 26 by 26 square foot garage, 676 square feet. thus requesting a variance of 76 feet, where 75 feet is also required by the county road. The applicant can only provide 53 feet 4 inches for the construction of a front porch on an existing house, thus requesting a variance of 21.8 feet. The property is located at 49 Myers Corners Road and is identified by tax grid number 615702884-982. Mr. Camacho, would you like to?
I'm Ciro Interanti, the architect. Deborah Camacho.
Deborah Salgado Camacho.
Okay.
We were in here a couple of meetings ago, and we were asking for a bigger garage, and it was closer to the side property line. There was some discussion that took place about making the garage smaller and moving it back. There was also some discussion, we talked about possibly attaching the garage to the house, and then the setbacks would change because it would be part of the house. We explored those possibilities, we did some drawings, we studied it and so on, and the bottom line is we came down to the decision to reduce the size of the garage to 26 by 26, pushing it back 67 feet from the front property line. Those two combined reduced or increased the side property setback to 17 feet 4 inches. So we're only asking for 2 foot 8 inches on the side, 67 square feet on the 600-foot regulation. We've got the garage, the front of the garage, 67 feet back from the front property line, so we would ask for a 7-foot variance on that, front yard variance on that. And as the front porch, we're asking for the 17 feet 8 inches on the front porch.
So we
we've
certainly
reduced-
appreciate the fact that you took our advice, looking at originally at 1,050 square feet, going to 896 square feet, down to 696. So certainly appreciate that you did that, because what it did was it took your variance down significantly. You also are under the 20-foot top now that you need to have the height. You're at 16 feet, so no variance is needed there. So certainly the board appreciates the fact that you did what you could to make this a smaller variance. You guys have any questions at all that you'd like to ask the,
That's the only question I had. I didn't see the height.
Oh, so this is,
Barbara actually gave it to me, so the side is 9 feet and the roof is 7, so there was 16 feet to the top. And the
The
20 feet
garage
is
is
what they have.
16 feet high now?
We might possibly
20 feet.
increase that by about a foot. But as long as we stay under the 20 feet, you're okay,
Oh, I
right?
see what you're saying. I got you.
Right, that's the
He's not exceeding the 20 foot is what
Right.
they're telling us.
Yeah, we
So
showed it as
16.
9 feet inside, but
Right,
some
7
recent
to
discussion, we
8
may go up to
inside.
10 feet on the inside, but still would be under the 20 feet.
Okay, so we just noticed something with all the changes. There is a fourth variance, so you
I was
have
going to ask you about that, because I thought he
for the
mentioned
front
another one.
yard to the garage.
I had that in the package.
Okay, so we're going to add that. I have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was missed, but that's why if I bring it to their attention and they set your public hearing, B can adjust your public hearing notice and you can move forward. So it's not a hardship because we caught it tonight.
Okay.
What was that again, Barbara?
So they need a front yard setback for the porch. For the garage, they need it for the size of the garage, they need it for the side yard, and they need it for the front yard. So the front yard variance is correct, is in the packet, but we missed it when we were changing all the numbers.
and that's because it's a county road.
So is there a way to amend it, or can he amend it next time when he comes for the
Well,
public hearing?
he amended it in his application.
Okay.
We missed it on the agenda. So as long as we've noticed it here, B will add that to the public hearing notices before they're sent to the newspaper and before
Okay.
Mrs. Camacho mails it out, so.
Yeah, so I don't want to see him penalized for the fact
Right, so
that,
there's no problem, it's just a clerical error we
Okay.
can correct overnight.
all right. So let's set the public hearing for 2 weeks from today.
23rd?
So today's what, 9/16, 23rd? Does that work? So April 23rd? And as you probably know, you have some homework there, right?
Well, once we make the updates,
Okay.
yeah, I'll leave you a call.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and we'll see you in 2 weeks then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Something in the code that says
Next discussion for tonight is appeal number 197673. It's on 479 All Angels Hill Road, Apartment House, seeking an area variance, section 240-56 and 240-56B, C, and D. The district regulations in HM zoning district, where there should be no increase in the number of permitting dwellings resulting from additions made after 1962. The applicant is seeking a building additions constructed after 1962, where a minimum lot of 40,000 square feet is required. The applicant only provide 22,098, thus requesting a variance of 17,902. And the second variance is where there shall be no more than one dwelling for each 20,000 square foot of lot. The applicant only provide 22,098, thus requesting a variance of 57,902. The property is located at 479 All Angels Hill Road and is identified by tax grid number 635703210002 in the town of Wappinger. Hello, gentlemen. So who do we have tonight that's representing the property?
Yes, so I'm Abby Josiah. Fadi Amir is the owner who I'm representing tonight.
Okay,
And I'm Andrew Milliken. I'm the architect that's working on the project.
okay. So why don't you tell us a little about, what you want and why you want it?
Well, currently there's a building, 4,050 square feet, that has one apartment on the second floor, and it's permitted, the ground floor is permitted to be a ceramic studio, which it's been since the 80s. And the current owner is hoping to get more utility out of the building by converting that ceramic studio into apartments.
So, you're Abby,
Correct.
and the owner is Fadi.
Fadi Amir, correct.
And you are,
I'm a real estate agent.
oh, okay.
Yes.
And you're
I'm the
architect.
architect.
Got that.
Okay. So have you received the health bill, health department approval yet? Do you have anything in writing that says that? Because this is going to require them to at least approve it before we move any farther. And so what I want to do is make sure that you have that, because we don't want to waste your time or your money here. And so if you can tell us if you have that, or if you have something in writing that would suggest that you have approval, that would be great.
We have a site engineer who's been working on the project, and he has designed a new septic system for the backyard with expansion and everything. And he's talked to the health department about it, but the health department apparently doesn't want to formally review his design unless there's some assurance by the town that the project can move forward. It's kind of chicken and the egg.
Well, I
kind of
think
thing.
we need them to approve
So-
first.
That's fine. And we can,
So, what I think would be appropriate here, one of the things that are, if this board would grant the variance, it would have to go to the planning board anyway.
right.
One of the things that our code for site plan requires to show any structures, wells, or septics within 200 feet of the lot, which I think also primarily that's there for the health department to look at. In looking at the drawings, there's some concern as far as the separation well and septic on this lot, plus there doesn't seem to be a lot of information regarding the adjacent lots.
And that's what our
And that's what the health
site
department...
engineer
Right.
is working on. Yeah.
So to the extent the site plan gets revised to have that, and you submit that to us, we'll have the town engineer look at it, and we'll also reach out to county health department and say, we're looking at this, so I think that's really the step where we should go here. And that's, so to the extent you go 200 feet off the property lines and show wells, septics, other structures, I think that'll be sufficient. If it's not, if that's not sufficient for the Board of Health, but, if you have your site engineer contact either Barbara, and say that we're going to revise our site plan to show the adjacent properties, because that's typically what they want to see. They want to see the separations. They also want to see any wetlands or anything like that on it.
Yeah,
So-
we're aware
Right.
of all that.
So currently, I guess the well is within 200 feet? Is that one of the issues is?
Well, no, so
To the-
that's the other thing too, is that separation between existing well and septic is different than new well and septic, and so, so there's, and then if it's up gradient or down gradient, so there's a lot of specifics with respect to that. I mean, in some cases, you might even have to show the property on the opposite side of the street. So, but that's, again,
So the
that's a
first-
discussion that the site engineer should have with the
Yeah,
health
so the
department.
first order of business should be to get the site plan, right? And then once you do that, and you expand it, right, so that you can see the adjacent property, see where the well and the septic are, that's kind of the first step. And once you do that, then we can go forward.
And so then the health department can give us, because one of the issues here, that's the biggest concern that the town engineer had, because it is a fairly limited site, and, with the parking and things like that, because if the site, if it has to get moved and put underneath the parking lot, then there's a different design requirement, so, it's a very small lot. And then the other issue is, the septic is sized based on bedroom count. So they might be able to get a septic on the site if they would, reduce the bedroom count. So, those are all different issues. The only other question, but I think that can have that I think should get the dialogue with the health department going.
Right, if I just may add on.
Sure.
That was actually the first conversation step that we took, because we didn't want to actually go through all this, so we even had PEP test done prior to all that. So they actually, in principle, the system has been designed, and the health department has basically a rough draft of our application with them, which they reviewed it, but they said they couldn't formally give us that go-ahead until they had basically the town blessing to do so. So they, the system that will be required to handle per code for the number of bedrooms that we are seeking, it's already been designed, and we have one that would meet those requirements.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, so, I mean, the one thing, though, the caveat, as far as designing a system and sizing it, is, the question is going to be placement on the lot.
Correct.
Based on separation from other factors.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, understand. And naturally, we'd have to justify all that.
Sure.
And we understand that. We're confident that we do have the distances to nearby. You can see the well 2 properties away. There's nothing, there's a flag lot, so there's a separation on that side. The neighbor that's closest, we know where that well is, so
Yeah.
we have some confidence that we'll be able to make this happen, as far as that's concerned. And so I guess we would push our site engineer to
Yeah,
go
we'll have- yeah, well, I know he
have the county look at it.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, and so to the extent you just broaden the site plan out to
Yep.
capture that environment. The other two other issues, is there any new building area being added, or is it just a renovation of the existing building?
No, we want to be careful that we're not expanding the building in any way. It's the original perimeter of the state is.
Staying with the footprint.
Yes.
And are the bones good, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The what, Jim?
The bones of the building, are you?
Yeah, structurally, it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Thought you said footprint.
Because we just had an issue where we had granted a use variance, and afterwards, the buildings that were there weren't too good, so we
Well,
lowered our.
Barbara, you accompanied Abby out to see the property?
Yes, me and Susan were out there, and on a quick inspection, I mean, I think you're also going to need to sprinkler it.
Yes, so.
You're aware of
Yeah,
that?
we're ready to do that.
Okay. So Susan Deo, the building inspector, and I we literally walked through it. She didn't investigate it
Right.
as, in the capacity of a building inspector to see its bones or look behind the wall. So I just want to clarify that.
Yep.
You can ask her, should you receive this variance as you're going to the planning board to continue, you could ask her to do a site visit with you, with your
Absolutely.
professionals, so that, it's a meaningful day, so you can start working on plans with the intent that this may get approved.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that the building would work the way we wanted in the first place. So we're kind of ahead of the game in that sense, but that doesn't harm the project.
So the first order of business again is for them to get a new site plan and work trying to get the health department to approve. So before we move any farther, we want to make sure we
Yeah,
have those
so-
two items closed, because no sense having them go through the expensive.
So you submitted a new site plan, a site plan application. Does that show the surrounding properties?
It will when this next go around. This
So the
next
one that you just submitted doesn't show that?
He brought one in today for the site
Well,
plan.
we have a survey, but you're asking for the design of the system and
So here's what happens. The first time you bring in the however many copies, 17 copies, B is going to process it, and a copy is going to go to the health department, to Dutchess County Planning, to whatever state state road. So that's going to be their introduction that the town has accepted your application. And based on that, that's when they will start reviewing it for you. But as Jim pointed out, for us to send a comprehensive plan so they can see the other
I
properties
mean,
as
the
well.
one thing that you may want to do is send it, we can refer it up to county planning on the variance application before you submit the planning board application. Because that's another option. I mean, the question is, based on, you may not want to have to go through the whole process of the planning board, until you find out how this board's going to act on the variance.
Right, understood. Our site engineer, who isn't here, obviously, did informally talk with
Right.
somebody up there at Board of Health and got a reasonable assurance that the system would work as designed, but understand that has to come first, that makes sense.
So I guess the way we want to handle this, right, is, we'll wait for them to get the paperwork to you, and then we'll put it back on as a.
Well, I mean, if they've submitted an application a planning board application that's going to the health department, then, so long as that has the 200 feet and everything that they need, we'll wait for the comments back on that, and this board, can defer
Make a decision on
action on
that.
that till
Sure.
we get some further information from the health department.
So a revised site plan was already done and submitted to the planning board?
Today.
Today? Oh, okay. Got it. That's right, I think I saw you here.
Yes. I offered to take you for lunch and you turned me down.
Back. All right.
No problem.
So do you think you'll have everything back in the next 2 weeks? You think it's a month? How long do you think it's going to take?
No, I'd expect us to have it ready.
Yeah, that within 2 weeks will be done.
So we're going to put it back on for 2 weeks, or do you?
So wait, I have a question. Would you prefer us not to send this out? Here's the thing, once B sends this out to the consultants, they're going to do a review. If this is not complete enough, rather, for you, I would wait so that you're paying them to do one review, rather than do this review and have a lot of incomplete.
Correct.
So we'll wait on sending it out until you resubmit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make sure Jim's.
I'll get the full site
Right.
plan.
And then
Okay,
at
fair
that
enough.
point, once Ms. Aganti here mails it out to the health department, they won't get in touch with us anymore, then it's on you to notify them. So it'll be more than a few weeks before
Okay.
you'll probably get an answer.
From
The health
from the health department.
So you want to
Okay.
try like the first,
Or once they get something, we can then put it on
you
the
want to
next
just set it up
available
once they get something
agenda.
back? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I think that might work out better.
Okay.
So,
So it sounds like it's not going to be 2 weeks, but it
okay, but
could be
the,
4 weeks.
So
So
the-
again, work with Barbara and Dee, and we'll figure out when the best schedule is to get you back here to.
So I think what might be the best way to do it is to do the revised site plan, submit it to B and Barbara, and we'll refer that up to the county on the variance application, not on the planning board application.
But then it doesn't get to the health department. They won't
We
review
can
it.
send it to them
Okay.
on the variance application. And then we'll wait for their comment with respect to that,
Okay.
Okay.
And as far as the variance we're
because
seeking,
we
so
got to send it
that,
to county planning anyway.
yeah, so there's no like conditional approval of variances or anything.
No.
You want to see everything together. Okay,
No
that makes
conditional
sense.
approval, sorry.
No, I understand.
And they were.
I have a question. I think this variance is astoundingly large, what you're asking for. It's 50, you're requesting a variance of 57,000 square feet?
Well,
I mean,
I understand.
gigantic.
We're just working with the lot as it exists. And the house has been there, and it's been used as a ceramic studio. We're just trying to, well, the owner is asking to be able to use the property in a more effective way.
No, I understand. You're in the variance application, Part E, how did your need for an area variance come about? Is your difficulty self-created? Please explain your answer. The need for the variance has arisen from the desire to supply the town of Wappinger with additional affordable housing. Okay, which is in higher demand than a ceramic studio. I understand that, but when you're putting in 3 more apartments,
Well, potentially, I mean, that would
potentially.
be,
But that's, what I'm saying is that's very, very large.
I understand. There must have been a reason why these regulations are written the way they are. It seems like, well, I'm not going to argue why the regulations are, but there must have been a project where the town, must have been somebody was trying to cram a bunch of apartments into a small place or something. I don't know why these 20,000, half an acre per dwelling unit.
So this particular section isn't necessarily, I mean, the zone, this is zoned Hamlet mixed use, which contemplates, doesn't really contemplate this particular use. What it contemplates is a typical ground floor, commercial space with apartments above or behind. So that's what is contemplated for the zone. This particular use was created probably in the 60s.
Well, wait, let's just take this a step further. This also goes to, besides mixed use, to residential neighborhoods. So you could be in a very dense residential section that has, say, a larger, older home that was built in the 30s or 40s that somebody wants to convert. So to protect the neighborhood, they put these things in place so someone doesn't just come along. Like this was a very small cottage back before 62. So these additions came in the last few decades. And it was just a ceramic studio, and I think that's been out for quite some time. And an apartment. The back garage, an additional large, it is a large area, but was built for storage. So it never contemplated habitable space in that rear addition when it was built. So the code, I think, was written more to protect residential sections from having old large Tudors or colonials made into multifamily. And so they put criteria in to protect family neighborhoods.
So this section actually predates the Hamlet mixed-use zone. The Hamlet mixed-use zone is a rather recent creation. This has been in the code since at least the 70s. And that's what it contemplates is, older houses being
So let me ask a different question. And so does this mean that because the variance is as large as, Tom has described it as, and it's on their application, does that, even if they got the health approval, does that preclude them from getting the variance passed? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying?
No, I mean, it's still all the standards. I mean.
So they still have to meet the standards. So even if they got the Board of Health for approval, right, they would still need to meet the variance standards, and that would be
Correct.
something, okay.
Right. So
So it's just so you know that means just because you get the approval doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the variance, because it's significant. So I just want to be open and honest with you up front, so you understood that.
now, and then the other issue is, because it's a Hamlet mixed use, to the extent that they retained a commercial use on the property, and I'm not sure do we have density in? I mean, if you kept an art studio, what would be the density?
I don't know what the top of my head.
so under, what is a permitted use in the zone is a commercial use with apartments. That's the mixed use.
So it's
aspect of it.
permissible, but the variance is large enough.
The reason why they have to go this route is in that zoning district that does not permit strictly multifamily. So if they had a commercial component to this project, they could probably get, I don't know, is there a density or?
Here, these are your,
Are you planning on adding some kind of commercial property? I mean,
We
business?
explored
We
that
explored that
at first,
option.
but, frankly, we thought it'd be a better suited for the building,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
to just
existing,
strictly
so-
keep it all residential apartments, having, I don't know, another business there, now we'll get into the whole, aspect of maybe an additional traffic there, additional parking space, people coming in and out of the apartment. So again, just to kind of keep the cohesiveness of the building,
In the mixed-use definition.
we chose this route because of that, majorly because of that.
But obviously, we're asking for, quite a big variance, so it's up to this board to
I mean,
advise.
the other option is to say, so it's either this or to say it's a use variance to permit a multifamily.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound like they're going to put any kind of, commercial operations there.
Right,
so-
but like I said, the code permits,
The code permits, but it doesn't sound like that's not something they're
that's
going to
not
pursue.
that's not what's on the table.
Right.
So, I mean, the other way you could theoretically look at this is that they would be requesting a use variance to permit a multifamily use. This is, an area variance, so it's reviewed under a lesser standard than a use variance. So,
Well, that was what I was trying to get to, what Al had said, is that just because you have to go through the process of having the county look at the
restoration,
site
reuse, and
plan,
visual.
it's still a tremendous variance.
the definition
We're trying to
specifically.
just make the property work as effectively as possible. Certainly, ceramic studio doesn't,
Four apartments?
well, 4 apartments would fit in the building.
Yeah.
That's, so obviously that's the most, obviously. Then it would be up to this board or, to say otherwise.
Is it 4 or 3?
With 3 additional, to go with the one that's there now. So,
Jim or Barbara, anything else we need to discuss?
I don't have
Otherwise, I
anything.
think you know what you guys need to do,
Yep.
so. If there's anything else, Jim, I just want to make sure they have everything they need to do before they walk out tonight, and I'll have to come back 100 times asking questions. So.
And I think, just to go over what Jim said, when you resubmit with the other properties, if it gets submitted to Dutchess County Planning, which it has to, and the Health Department, as Jim has suggested, if for whatever reason you don't get approval and you have to change your application to a lesser number, or whatever you can get approval for, it's better to do this now before we submit to the planning board
Right.
all those fees and escrow. Then at least you know now.
well, yeah, that's why we want to talk.
So we'll hold on to that. We won't
Yeah, I
submit
think that makes sense.
that, so that,
Because that, and
doesn't work.
that is an option on the table to the extent that, and you can talk to Barbara about this, if you retain a small commercial component, you can theoretically get some number of apartments if you have at least a commercial component in it.
I see.
So that's not necessarily obvious to our code.
Well, that's honestly, that's, what,
So if you would, so theoretically, if you had kept, because the intent of the Hamlet mixed use, it's, Barbara just pointed to me, the intent of the zoning district is to reuse the existing buildings to create a mixture of uses, so.
But if they do that, don't they lose an apartment or whatever else they're going to in order to?
they could. They
Because you're
could
not going to
keep-
allow them to expand it.
So the ceramic studio was redone. I was in it. They have like what could be offices. It's quite charming in there. So what Jim is saying, if you would use that for, I don't know, real estate office or something, and to have 3 apartments, that would be the mixed use. You still are held to the health department standard, but actually that may not work because they may not get enough parking. I think you've,
Well, we can investigate
right.
options.
Those are other options.
Yeah.
Right.
That if you kept, because that's the front area that you would use for commercial. The existing apartment is upstairs?
Yes.
In the front. And then you'd have 2 in the rear, right?
Yeah, the one
The
in the-
garage part and then above it where the storage
The
is.
garage part and above will be 1, and then the remaining area to adjacent to the, where the
Right.
office is. will
So
be
that's another option, but again, now you have to look at parking because it
Yeah.
will increase. But you also, you're still held to, health department's going to rule here on everything.
So, but, like I said, you've got options on the table.
Yeah, did you mean to say that there's another portion of the zoning code where the variance could be a change of use, and it wouldn't it wouldn't go under this 240-56? Or,
Correct, but it's a different, you now have to actually,
Meet other standards.
you meet different standards regarding
Right,
return on
like you're saying.
investment and everything else. So
Yeah,
you take it out of, this is an area variance, you would take it out of the area variance.
Make it a
standard,
use
And now
variance.
you'd look at it as a use variance.
well,
So,
yeah, whatever makes sense, I mean,
but again, and the other,
Harder to
the
get.
mixed use, again, we'd have to have a discussion with Bart, wouldn't require, at least for those purposes, there may be some variances, and one of the things that we have, which is kind of weird, is that it's an existing building that you're really not,
Increasing.
you're not increasing any of the nonconformities, the dimensional nonconformities on the site. It's a permitted use in the zone, so I don't think you necessarily would need lot coverage or, the only issue probably would be parking. And the use is permitted in the zone. The only question is, what's the density permitted for the apartment, the apartment, I believe there's something in the code that has a ratio of commercial to residential, but I don't have it in front of me. But like I said, and that doesn't require a use variance, it's a permitted use in the zone, and that gives you at least some flexibility. And it may also reduce the septic requirements for the health department. So, if you've got a commercial use, a low water usage, commercial use on the site, that might be.
yeah, we did notice that when we were looking at
Right.
retaining the office, and we noticed that.
So that's an option, like I said, that's an option on the table, which would take away a lot of these
I see.
requirements, so.
So that's all we're trying to do, is just have it make sense.
Yep.
Not push it
But again.
somewhere where it doesn't want to be.
Before you change track, should you decide, you still would need septic for 3 apartments and a smaller amount for the commercial. So again, health department's ruling one way or another.
Yeah.
If you can get through there, and say they say, we'll only give you 3 apartments, and you want to change it to the mixed use, but then see if you can still get the parking, you'll be at the planning board, the 2 spots in the front, you're really almost on the road there. So you have to make sure that works, and then you trigger other things for the commercial use. So you'll have to weigh that, but health department really needs to be defined for you first before you really can go. in
And
that
again, if
direction.
you find a use that may need, may not need, if you work out a mixed use that doesn't require a variance, you can withdraw the application here and proceed before the planning board, so, so you've,
So you have options.
Yeah.
Just
gotta pick one.
Well, that's what we wanted to know, and that's why we wanted to talk to you guys,
okay.
if that's okay.
So what happens next time we meet? What are we doing? Waiting?
Well, they're gonna do a site plan. I think the easiest thing, right now,
Yeah.
would be to proceed, at least based on this, redo the site plan as we discussed, showing the adjacent properties. We'll send that over to Dutchess County Health Department and Dutchess County Planning, because it's on a county road. Get some comments back, and your site engineer can have comments, between the health department and the town engineer, with respect to those issues, and, perhaps come up with a use that works.
Okay.
So I think that makes the most sense.
So when is the
And if
next?
it doesn't, then what they can do is take a look at the use variance option. So if the
Potentially.
area variance
I mean,
doesn't
again,
work,
if the health department doesn't work, the use variance is probably not going to work. You'd have to go,
We still need help.
you probably have to go down to like a two-family or something. I
Oh,
don't,
yeah, we knew early on that that was gonna be the driving factor in this
Right.
whole project, yeah. So that's why we, like
Yeah,
Abby said, we did the perk test and all that stuff. so
Yeah.
we
we
knew
knew what we were
exactly,
getting into.
right. So, I mean, again, just to close it out, all these options, we kind of explored them, we looked at the area neighborhood, and we really, and just to kind of answer your question, the variance, we felt like, yes, though it's a lot, if you look at really the alternative and the options that we had, I believe this is the, in terms of just not for the owner, but for the area, this was really probably the most, best
viable option.
liable option, having 3 apartment and then whatever business that might go in there, just for that, you already have the gas station, you have the car wash across the street, and then you have that empty
It's like an auto body
auto body, to add another kind of, and again, we were determined that if we went this route, we were gonna need sprinkler system, expand, so
Right.
there's a lot we're putting into that, but overall, in totality, feel that this is just the best, suitability for the building and for the area, I would, hope that would be taken into considerations, just to see why, and then I do, understand the variance, that it is a big ask, but, for that reason, is why, that was the thinking.
Got to play the ball where it lies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't hear you.
You got to play the ball where it lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, and as a zoning board of appeals, we look at variances and grant them on different aspects of what you're asking. And one of them is size.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, and to the extent they go, I don't even know if it went to a use variance, would they really,
Still need help department.
no, I'm just saying, I don't think they would need any area variances if you went for a straight use variance.
No, probably not, everything's existing.
Right. So, I mean, if they went to a use variance for a multifamily, since it's an existing building, they probably wouldn't need any area variances number, but they'd have to show reasonable, the standard is that you cannot make a reasonable rate of return for the uses that are permitted in the zone, so, which is a different analysis.
Okay.
Well, so the next meeting for this is,
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We're not gonna put
we're
them
not
on.
planning anything.
No, and I will tell you, we very rarely get comments from the health department. So from the time you submit to be, within a week, it will have gone out in the mail to the health department. So like the second week, you can start contacting them to work directly with them. Because they're not gonna send us anything until you're down the road in the process.
If I just ask, so in terms of, for this board, the next thing you guys gonna be looking at, is it because of the septic, what is preventing us? I would kind of like get you guys to come out there, the ideas that have been thrown around has kind of helped me, should this not work out one way, at least get that. So I would like for you guys to come see this building. I think you'd appreciate what we're asking, really,
We could do a site visit.
Yeah, in contrast to what the other alternatives have been kind of weighed in,
A site visit makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
So why don't we set it up, I can't do this Saturday, but I can do the following Saturday if you guys are
What's that date?
I think that's Easter Saturday.
That's the 20th.
20th.
I mean, I'm not against it, but I don't know.
If you guys
what's
want to
going
go
on.
this weekend, you can, I'm just not available.
We need,
Any day you want, I'm ready.
if we came on different days, let's say, because.
I'll work, just let me know.
Is there a way to notify them, let them know we're going to be there a certain day so they don't have to?
Yeah, you have his number.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you give us their cell phone numbers, what we can do is we can call you and see if we can arrange a time, because I don't think all of us are gonna make it there.
Yeah, well, I'll go the following Saturday.
Okay.
This Saturday's gonna be tough for me as well.
So let's shoot for the following Saturday.
So the 20th.
April 20th.
Okay, so we all should be able to make it. Should be able to.
Around 9 o'clock is it?
Yes, please.
usually?
9 o'clock.
Yes.
20th.
I'll send you an email.
What's the date, the
with-
21st, we said?
20th.
20th.
20. 9 a.m.
Okay.
His, Abby's phone number's on the application.
I'm sorry?
His number,
Okay.
should you need to reach him, is on the application.
Oh, I see it, 4436.
Yes, correct.
And you know, you may feel disappointed that you're not getting further, but I think for the owner, not putting all the fees into the planning board and staying here and seeing what you can go forward with makes a lot more sense.
No, absolutely, and I agree, and that's why I said I even request if you could come, because I
Yep.
think the more kind of, we could have more of a deeper conversation, once you kind of see why we were saying that. It's not just because,
They're not trying to cram.
No, we typically do site visits,
Right,
and
yeah.
so it's a good idea to
Okay.
do this one, so you can kind of lay it out for us what you're looking to do, and makes sense.
all right,
No problem.
thank you, fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I
Have a
appreciate
good
it.
night.
Thank you, yeah.
Guys, have a good night.
Good night.
Okay. Any other business before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.